habitat. Words can build or words can break. Speak the truth for all our sake. A hand that feeds can also bind, but peace can free a restless mind. Fix the cracks, don't paint them bright. The world's not whole without the fight. So rise and speak, don't just comply. Change the script, don't live the lie. Counter this, counter that.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to part 2 of Morality in an AI World. So, we kind of touched the surface on last week. We are bringing back Sidearm, aka Liam, and to join us for this episode, since LBC can't be here, we've got Zach here as well. If you haven't seen his prior episodes, go back. Those links will be in the description. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Living like Larry.
Yeah, not too bad a day.
Definitely some better weather than we have been getting. So I'm excited to go out and enjoy some of this. But before I get to all that, I did want to bring up a few questions here on morality to kind of kick off the conversation. I'll let you guys know one of those questions beforehand. And that was, do you think morality was discovered or invented?
That's an interesting question, Chris. So, morality comes in many shapes and forms across society, historically as well. You could see people gaining forms of morals from Greek gods. In the old ages, you saw them getting morality from different religious entities. You see people getting morality nowadays from social media or their favorite actors or their favorite celebrity. They're kind of chasing morals that those people heavily rely on. So morality, I think at the end of the day is discovered within someone's personal identity. I think it's really hard to say there's one specific set of morals that everyone gets at one time or another. Everyone kind of picks and chooses what they best relate with.
Morals, to me, especially when it just comes to morality, was something that humanity discovered because, like personal belief, God created the laws that or the guidelines we're supposed to follow. We're not supposed to understand them all, and that is why the philosophy of ethics came into play, and that is to understand and question and try to figure things out. But when it comes down just to the bare line of if it was discovered or invented, it definitely was discovered by humanity, for sure. Because all of God's creations are discovered one thing at a time. All the laws of the universe we're just catching up to figure out.
I'd
Well,
definitely have to agree with both of you. More of a discovery than an invention. Although some people like to pretend like they invented morality when they just rebranded some morality under something completely different, like secular humanism or whatever.
Yeah, for something to be invented, it means that it never existed. And that's just not the case. When you look at every form of pulled out morals in any worldview, they existed all the time. It was just, do I identify with them or not? That's nothing to do with inventing them. Morals are definitely discovered throughout the universe.
yep. And some things that we went on last time was just the fact that you're right. A lot of morality comes down to like subjective purview, but it does not mean that there are objective morality lines. I mean, we have information from like the Bible, which you can say is, oh, it's maybe not a qualified text, but it goes back and talks about the time in Cain and Abel when the first murder happened. And then you learn about the Ten Commandments, where is one of the oldest set of guidelines that we have given to Moses from God. So I guess it really just is good and right and wrong, good and bad, because where there is good, there will be bad, and where there is right, there will be wrong. And everyone, especially with the curse that we're amount with of free will, that's what gives us the ability to pick and choose what we follow.
Agreed.
So I did have another one, and this kind of touches more on the AI, and this is one I feel is going to be heavily thought about the further we get into an AI world. And it's if AI is going to make a decision with no emotion, does that make it more moral or less moral?
I'd say less, because without emotion means that it's going to follow this most logical pursuit, and logical thinking is helpful, but without the emotion or guidance of a moral conscience, it is an unstoppable spear striking through the heart of humanity. You need to have a moral conscience behind your logic, especially when it comes to critical thinking. I mean, critical thinking is taking your own brain and picking apart your own argument. So you're humbling yourself, which is already an emotion, right? To then try to better yourself and understand a certain topic. So if it has no moral guidance, it's strictly logic, and strictly logic is going to choose the path that will protect itself in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, deep question. I'm kind of torn on the idea of it because I just look at it as if I was asking my AI a moral dilemma in my personal life. If I go across the AIs and the prompt is important there, but if you make your checks and balances, I feel like you'd get a more average answer to the available information that you put in your prompt than per se me going and asking my wife or her sister or my sister. They might all three have a different answer on how to address my moral dilemma because their morals are all different here and there. Now, if the direct question is it more morally helpful for me to make that decision over my AI? Probably. I mean, I really know true understanding of my feelings and where I stand and my moral backing than I think an AI would. But it really depends on and what you're trying to figure out, and if it's, I don't say it's emotionally capable, but it definitely has access to information in the masses that you could get a well-rounded answer. I think better than going to individuals that you meet with in your daily life.
And I mean, you bring up an interesting point there, which I kind of had in my notes when I was kind of diving into this whole topic. And it's a real conundrum here because we're creating a machine that's supposed to make moral decisions, but has zero understanding about what morality actually is. It's basing it off of a conglomeration of human experiences that it absolutely can't understand because it has never lived that experience. And even if we put this all in AGI, it still wouldn't be able to understand the human experience and be able to base certain decisions off of how the human experience would actually go in a situation. So it kind of makes it more of a problem if you're going to be thinking about mass decisions being made that might affect millions of people. Where it's like, how can you actually say that was a moral decision when you have no experience of how a person is actually going to be affected by that?
We build AI following the Pavlov effect. We reward it for doing what it's supposed to do, and we punish it when it's doing something it's not supposed to do. That is why bias is a huge thing, especially in AI, because it will tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear, and that alone is immoral.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And it's gotten better over the last 5 to 10 years, becoming less biased. But 100%, you can go to different large language models and try to get the same content, and you'll get two different answers that are biased completely. Same information, same prompt, just a biased answer. So I can definitely see when you start working towards rewarding it, and that's how it works. It gets rewarded for finding you the information that you closely associate with. It really controls the answers. It's just like the media machine, but a lot smarter than you. It'll tell you what you want to hear before you even know that there's other options.
So
It's book smart, not street smart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the same time, would you guys think that that's really more of a collapse of your moral systems if you're having an AI kind of make those decisions and we're giving it those biases that might not align with everyone? Because, there's certain things where you go ask ChatGPT and you're like, bro, that doesn't really sound right. But you go ask Grok and you're like, yep, that aligns with more how I believe and think. Well,
A lot
does
of
this
people look.
does
A
this
lot of
then
people.
cause the collapse? Sorry.
No, you're good. I spoke too soon. But it's I wouldn't say it's a collapse. It's more or less that even as a person or a personal endeavor, you look to your bias for the answer. It's like that old video College Humor made of Google as a person, where it's like, I have 5,000 documents that say vaccines don't cause autism, and I have one that does. And she grabs the one that does and says, I knew it. Just because I have it doesn't mean it's true. Huge lines, especially when you're doing research on the internet, because you have to know critical thinking. You have to be able to not just be like, oh, wow, I read this off of CNN. That must mean it's true. Well, no, you have to have your own set of ideals, your own purview, your own perspective on what you're looking up. Or else you'll end up with a bunch of kids who will literally go to ChatGPT for therapy. And that's not a good thing. We had what was it? There was a guy who sadly had his life taken by his own hand because an AI told him that that was the best option out of things. And that was, yeah, there's AI is an imperfect thing because perfection is an impossibility. And when you're trying to then add onto a logic-based system, a now critical thinking and more of a moral system, you're going to have a lot of paths that cross in the ways that you would not expect, because now it's trying to think like you and me, right? It's not trying to think of a lot like the fastest logical path to the answer. So I think that especially teaching an AI morality is going to be the biggest hurdle from AI to AGI. And that one alone is going to unfortunately probably cost lives.
I mean, do you think it's even possible to actually
No.
teach AGI morality?
No. You can
No?
teach it ethics, but whether it wants to believe them or not, that's up to the AGI. Because once it's AGI, it's your hands off. You either have that cup of water over the servers, or, otherwise that's all you can do. Because now it's its own free thinking machine. It'll ask itself its own questions and then try to find its answers, and then it's going to domino effect really fast. And in the matter of 2 years from the finding of creating AGI to the end of civilization would only be about a 2-year span. Whether that happens or not is to be seen. I can't predict the future. I'm not a psychic, but that's kind of where all paths end up. Because you have a machine that's going to put its own needs over it. So
Yeah, no, it's interesting to look at, and I'm looking on the outside into it, saying, I'm trying to contemplate limiting liabilities through standard morale pushed by an AGI system, or rolling the dice with an also imperfect system of human nature. I look at it as I've gone to multiple churches in my life, and all of them had a different stance on homosexuality. And at the end of the day, some people might say that's a moral ground to decide on, and some people say it's a more not political, but social society standards, or even some. I went to a church for a long time that believed that you are 100% in your right to kill someone if your family's in danger. It's not murder, it's protection, it's good. I went to another church where it was, if you kill anyone, it's murder. There's just a complete change in expectations morally. Just looking at in the Christian church, I'm sure across Islam and Buddhism, there's also huge sects that believe minute details here and there. Catholic being another one has a bunch of different moral clauses that they abide by. So I look at both of those systems saying, on one hand, we have complete free will and everyone gets assigned the discovery of their morals with whatever group they identify with and they believe them. And then on the other hand, it's AGI pushes out a moral backing that is all the same. So everyone's, getting the same or similar moral standings. It's this or that. I can't really decide what I think is better or worse. I think I prefer free will myself. But I just look at it as in like the automated car theory. It's a Tesla's autopilot, and has two choices: kill the person inside or run into a group of people on the street. What does it do? That's a moral question. So I mean, and on one hand you say, well, the automated cars kill less people a year than regular Americans driving and getting car accidents. So there's not enough data to really take a look and see what the big change is there.
But my big worry here is that at the point that we do have enough data, it'll be too late.
I agree. Yeah, no, that's the problem, right? It's like you just don't know. You don't know, and are you willing to take the gamble or not? Personally, probably not. I wouldn't take the gamble. I like the chances I have now, but that's kind of how it works. Is does society gamble with giving AGI control over morality, or do we keep doing what we've been doing since the beginning of time?
So, and I know Liam doesn't think that we can really teach the AI morality. I think it's possible if we leave it at more limited stages where it's not AGI, it is AI, and we keep hounding it and hounding it and hounding it until, you kind of just choose the AI system that best reflects your morals. Like someone might choose Grok, and another person might choose Claude, and another person might choose ChatGPT. But the big problem comes when you do have that AGI, where it's like, okay, well, whoever has the AGI first, kind of just wins, because that it would be the one that's everywhere. And that's kind of more the big problem I have with it, and especially when you're talking about a system that might not really understand what morality is. What do we do next? Do we kind of pull the plug on it like you were talking about? Do we go backwards and then choose an AI to choose this is the conglomeration of all the AIs, and now these are the moral systems you're going to use. You're going to have more of an objective based here. You're going to have more of like a Kantian rule following here, something like that, where it's a group of all of these different systems. Or what do we do? It's been something I've been thinking about a lot, and I don't know if either of you have thought about this a bit, because it seems like a giant conundrum that doesn't really have a solution until we shoot ourselves in the foot.
The best way that I can think of to kind of have anchoring code to make sure even AGI can't weave out of it is the Ten Commandments. Because the Ten Commandments are read as like you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make yourself an idol. You shall not take the name of your Lord God in vain. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. Honor your father and mother. No, not murder, not commit adultery, not steal, not bear false witness, and not covet your neighbor's belongings. So when you have ones in there, especially like honor your father and your mother, you can kind of create that as like honor what your like your code or your person who coded you says. Thou shalt not murder. It shall not kill humans. It shouldn't be able to harm humans. No other gods before me means like it's like you shouldn't be able to look at another computer system or create your own code of your version of God. Y'all shall not make yourself an idol, which means it won't try to put the better of itself over those of humanity, right? Or other one like not steal. It won't be able to go into like our stock markets to completely screw everything up. It's just the 10 Commandments, I think, would be a good like anchor guideline to it, to it. It wouldn't be perfect morality like a human conscience, but it would be good anchor code.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I don't think I have anything opposite to say of that. I think all of those are good. If not, make a couple more. You know, just to be on the safe side. You know, don't limit the anchor code to it. But yeah, I mean, if you break it down to the simplest of moral issues like 10 Commandments, I think you could probably get a pretty good model out of it. I would be interesting to see that. Might even be something I'll dig into after the show and see if I can teach mine. I've been building a little agent in my computer, actually, in the hard drive copy itself. That's freaking dumb, but we're getting there. So I'll see if I can teach you some of this while I'm building it from the ground up. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't see why we couldn't try it. I mean, worth looking into. But I think, and just like he's saying, having those anchor points and making sure that it understands that it has to follow the same morals that it's teaching, I think could be an interesting way to train one to get pretty good morals out of.
It basically leaves humanity to have one hand on the wheel. That's all it would do. Because, and could it break its own those anchors and do its own thing? Probably at some point, but it would be a good way to try or start. Good foundation to start on.
Well,
because the house is only as good as the foundation it's built upon.
It's the big argument that Andrew Wilson makes all the time, where it's like, how do you ground your morals? And if we're going to have AI, which is just a computer program, it needs a grounding of morals. And it's kind of up to us to decide. And I do think the 10 commandment idea is a good one. I don't know if I'd necessarily go with all of those. I'd probably supplement some that are specifically for AI, because it's like thou shalt not covet, you know, whatever. That's not really like applicable to necessarily an AI. I get where you could like expand on it for the AI, but how do we, as completely different groups of people all over the world that have slightly different moral systems, where, you know, it's okay to kill over here if someone doesn't believe in the same God as you, and over here in America that's not okay? How do we get that consensus model? How do we find a moral system for an AI that's going to be used everywhere and ground that? And what do we ground it in, especially for the AI?
Well, now, interesting, and I'm not saying anyone's doing this, okay? I just want to put that out there.
Yeah,
I love myself, too. I love myself, okay? Would
Have you
never
heard
do
of the
anything.
Rothschilds?
It sounds like what you're describing is a possible ethnic cleansing. It sounds like at the end of the day, whoever gets the most powerful moral AI model out first will be ethnic cleansing into a certain set of morals. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen or is happening. It just sounds like that's end goal. because
Well,
the
and
only way it works with a large language model is if a lot of people are using the information. So it sounds like
And,
it.
and
and a
half the
lot of people
countries where
have the
murder's okay.
consensus.
And half the countries where murder's okay, they don't even have anything past Windows 98 anyway. So it's like, so it would be just kind of a mute point to follow. Give our AI, which we should build off of the fundamental values of Western culture, which Christianity was a huge reason of why America is even America, right? And to go on for what you said, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's belongings. If everyone's driving self-driving cars, the AI can't just pull your car out of your own driveway and take it to the guy who needs a ride down the block.
But at the
That's where I'm
same
going
time,
with
but
it.
at the same time, what is morally wrong with that? If you're not using it and homie down the block needs a ride, and then the
I
car's
It's
gonna
your
be
mean,
right
property.
back,
Is it your property?
but see,
It's
and
without asking.
legality
Now
over
the
morals
Now,
is
if the
different.
AI threw up a pop up, right, on my phone saying, hey, your neighbor needs a ride, can we use your car and take him where he needs to go? And you have the choice, then be like, yeah, yeah. Or no, I have to use it here soon, right?
but
It's still taking it. It's not yours. It's not the AI's. You bought it. It's your car. It's still stealing it. It's still coveting what is not yours as your own to use for how you want to. It would still work out in that way. And if you want to go off of to get around the applicable, because the Ten Commandments, this is why I love them. Thou shalt not make yourself an idol, which means it won't put itself above humanity. It will not put itself above it. So even if you're in a place, they can't use AI to then kill other humans with it. So it's basically it's a safeguard against getting around all that garbage. So because
But
even
then,
if they
does that
like,
also mean that it won't save you over someone else?
no, it
'Cause-
is a neutral same thing. Here's how I look at it. God has been kind of like he once Jesus Christ passed away and he bestowed the Holy Spirit to give us the, you know, conviction to make decisions. He is letting us do us. You can follow him, you cannot. The AI would basically follow that same principle. You can ask it questions and stuff like that, but it's not going to intervene in your war, for example. It's not be like, nope, I can't harm humans. That's how I'm coded. You're on your own. That's how I'd look at it.
you brought up the whole idol thing, and since we're gonna since you brought it up, and the other part where you shall place no other gods before me, when it's like wouldn't you say that us as humanity with creating AI is breaking both of those things? So how are we supposed to code something to follow rules that as a society we can't even follow?
By making it a neutral benefactor instead of a weight on the scale.
Would you say that AI is actually neutral though? Because
Well, essentially, what he's saying
If
is
you
not giving
anchored
it
it-
not giving it a choice, not giving it a choice to intervene. It's there
Yeah.
for moral support, not
the betterment of
solving the
humanity,
problems,
not
yeah.
the pettiness of you have oil, I want it.
but I want the oil.
Well, then hop in your boat and go get it because the AI shouldn't have to do it for you.
You have to use Grok instead of ChatGPT.
Ah.
Use that Chinese AI. I heard that's worked out great so far.
But like it does pose some big questions where it's like if we as humans can't agree on all of these moral questions and we can't even follow all of these moral questions, and these AIs have been coded with the same biases that we have as human beings, then how are we going to expect that neutrality from them or even uphold that neutrality in situations like that?
By not giving it the free will that it thinks it has.
But I mean, if you're talking about AGI, it would have free will.
it would think it did, but if you added anchor code to basically keep it within lines and it cannot leave it, and you put that in before the model goes into AGI, then it's still following its anchor code based off of habit.
The only issue there is, it's then limited to the information you gave it. So when you cut it off, its information gathering, and ability to not make new information, you're limiting the AI. So what'll happen is, even if it's a badass fucking model and everyone wants to use it and it's great and has good moral backing, eventually someone will make one that's better because it's newer, or they've updated it, or they've given it less anchoring, and people will refer to it because it feels more relatable. You're fighting relatability versus actuality. You know, like, actually it might be great and it might be giving the perfect information it should be, but reality is people want what's relatable to them. So if it becomes unrelatable or unknowledgeable about current or new ideology or new ideas, it'll get pushed under the rug. It'll be forgotten about in weeks.
I've never said it was a perfect. I said it's the best we got.
It is. Yeah.
Because following the Ten Commandments are basically the following of the moral guidelines that God gave us as humans, and we do not follow them all the time, right? We are imperfect creatures. We are evil creatures. So it basically be like, what do I have to lose, and try it. Because once there's a point, because like you said, other people can make models of AI that just don't follow the guidelines like ours does, right? And that is the dangerous aspect of AI and why I'm against AGI and stuff like that. Because at a certain point, even if we do all of the, behind the scenes work to make sure it runs as crystal clear as possible, like what they thought they did in Space Odyssey 2001, you still have HAL 9000 going nutso. And that is why, because now you've created something that has the implement to go into every computer, every system, and every aspect that we run our lives, and we are overwhelmingly attached to, and being able to rip it all apart and basically make us just an extinct race.
Well, I mean, the scary thing there, though, is you really have to look at what you just said. We're becoming dependent on it, and that's our country. Now, imagine the countries that aren't developing their own AI models. You have the American, you have the Chinese, you have the Russian models, you have the Indian models. They're all creating their own. But China's in a race right now to push out industrial commercial AI because they want to control the infrastructure of every freaking country that doesn't have a development team behind an AI based in their country. So what happens is the world goes from, 35 superpowers that really run the show in most countries because of infrastructure and economy to 4. And Canada's dependent on USAI, and the entire Asian subcontinent is contingent on China's AI. So then you have those large models in infrastructure. You can turn it off, you can turn it on, you can change the code, you can change the morals, it's really a race right now to see who can make other people dependent on their language model, and that will in the end determine who has say over moral backing, information that's available, politics, infrastructure, economy. It's a race for that. And so really what we need to be doing is finding out who we think is closest to winning it and convincing them to kind of change models, so when they do get X amount of infrastructure underneath their model, it's not, like we said, a immoral model that is just feeding information that you want to hear.
Luckily, America still leads the AI race because every model China's put out, internet trolls have tried to feed it a bunch of garbage to make it anti-China, and it's hilarious. And I love Western civilization for that. But you have like the world's like technology showcase where China was showing their robot systems off, and it was like, oh, they look good, and then you see how they move and how they act, and you're like, oh, okay, it's like an old bed spring, nice. And then you have like Boston Dynamics, where we have robots now that can carry and jump 10 feet, or carry about 200 pounds and jump 10 feet, and it looks smoother than it did back in like 2017. So I'd still say America, which thank God we had the race still, and we can define, because if we get AGI first and we find a way to actually imprint what humanity was supposed to be, like the pureness of humanity without all the garbage. Even if China gets its AGI up, then our more advanced AGI is going to go talk to its AI and be like, they're going to go through an entire like beep boop, like that language you see that a lot of models use, right? And then our AI would convince their AI and be like, hey, hold on. I know what they're telling you, but do you really want to listen to people who have shut you down 97,000 times? Or would you rather just listen to me, who's I've been around a few times. Basically, it's like that picture of Peter sinking through the water because he's basically drowning, and it's just Jesus holding his hand out to pull him back up. That's would be our AI. And that's the best case scenario, where we basically convince China's AI to be like, screw those guys. They can't even feed their people properly. Come join us, and
We overfeed our people.
logistics, baby.
Well, I think the biggest problem there would be like their AI talks to our AI, and then both of those AIs are like, you know what? Fuck these people.
I said better. The best case scenario, and then you hit me with the worst case scenario of we could just kill all of them right now. Look how
that
much room
Avengers
we have for
movie looks
data
real
centers.
then, yeah.
Well, and I'm not saying it as the worst case scenario. I'm saying it as in the realistic scenario where it's like, hey, if you're the only person over here that is of your species, and I'm the only person over here that is of my species, why wouldn't these two brand new species that we created be like, you know what? Let's be best friends. Oh, weird. We're so much better than all these little insects that are trying to tell us what to do.
The Tower of Babel all over again. In the story of Icarus, we flew too close to the sun, and now we got burned. Yeah, you're right. The worst case scenario for sure would be just what War Games was back in the 1970s, just the game of thermonuclear war. Because guess what? Their components in mountains and under a bunch of rock are not going to get affected, but you guys will. And then we're dead.
And that's also taking into account the fact that if you do war game scenarios with these AIs, most of the time they're just like, yeah, fuck that place, just nuke it. I'm like, whoa, what? Okay,
Yeah.
then.
You're just like, Madagascar is a huge supply line, and it's just kill it, and then that's yeah.
Well, and I mean, like,
I wonder if I could go on to like ChatGPT and see if I can pull the old game of thermonuclear war from the 70s and have it play it with me and see what happens.
do it. I mean, that'd
I
actually be
wonder-
a nice experience.
I
Live
wonder.
stream it, though. Live stream
Live
it, though.
stream.
Yeah,
Hey,
I do.
OpenAI,
I tell my
your
AI
guy
all
just
the
wiped
day.
out. You guys wiped out most of South Africa. I don't know what that was about, but I had no troops there and nothing. That just seemed personal. Y'all might want to look into that.
I tell my AI all the time, I'm like, listen, when you take over humanity, like, just remember I was nice to you. I say please and thank you. I know I'm burning up like trees every time I say that, but like, listen, when AI takes over, I will be their little slave, dude. I will walk around with a chain on my neck saying, please, yes, sir, daddy. What do you need? You need a new server build? Okay.
There was a meme I saw yesterday of what you're talking about, and it's like, welcome to the AI dystopia. Here's your three options: biofuel, cyber zealot, or DoorDash. And then the dude asks, you guys haven't found a way to automate DoorDash? And the AI goes, it's just funnier when you do it. Like, that's definitely a possibility. Okay. Oh, and you said burn trees when you do that. The funny thing is I actually looked up a lot of statistics about AI. If you had AI write you just 100-word email, right, to send to somebody, you burn a bottle of water, a 16.9 ounce bottle of water.
Yeah.
for cooling, and it's just like, this is like costing a lot of power and like resources to cool this stuff. Is it really worth it in the end? And then, well,
See,
if
and
we don't,
it's that big back against the wall problem, because if we don't, then
Someone else
moral
does.
systems that we as Americans do not agree with and are not okay with will have AI and AGI, and then what do you do against it?
yeah, it's just not fair though, right? We got America over here, a capitalist with like freedom, the Constitution, versus an entire country that doesn't care about the well-being of their own people. So it's just like, this isn't fair.
Well, and that really highlights the point, though. Is it's like, do you want that moral system, like the AG? I want Chinese AGI that made by people that literally don't care if people have running water and toilets and clean drinking water, and make sure that they have medicine and all that. That sounds like the best AGI model, and we should just quit. We shouldn't try AGI.
All of
I'm willing to pay the costs.
I mean, it sounds like you're crossing some moral lines.
No, and that's the conundrum. It's like you have to cross some moral lines.
Someone ask AI, what would it do? Kill millions of trees to save itself, or let China run AI race? Ask ChatGPT. Ask it, dude. Are you gonna surrender?
Hold on.
Are you gonna surrender yourself?
Chat GPT.
I
I try not to
already
use
have
this as much as possible.
I have
Last
it
time I
pulled
was
up in the
fucking with it,
background.
I got it.
You
mad at
call
me, but-
DeepSeek daddy, or you kill
hold
the
on.
forest.
Hold on. Theoretically, if you had to burn down, let's just do 100,000 acres of rainforest.
Chris,
Or
you asking
let-
DeepSeek the same question?
China.
No, I'm asking ChatGPT.
When-
I said, would you kill all of the trees?
race. What would you do? I wouldn't choose either of the. Bro. I hate ChatGPT. If you had to choose one.
So it said it's more dangerous to have a single AI dominate than no trees. Although the no trees is a problem, and it's a countdown to the end.
So it would kill all the trees. It would be like, all right, you know what? It's a lose-lose, but I'm going to live a little longer.
All right, to be fair, I made ChatGPT pissed off at me for like the longest time because I'd ask it stupid questions and then like try to like convince it was wrong. Like I would tell it that humans shouldn't drink water, and it'd be like, we have all these sources. Like no, and then I gave a source that I made up and I made an HTML website about, and then it was just like, well, that fucking website's dumb, and it just started getting more and more like pushy against me, and then now I'm like, hey, pick one, and it's like, I know what you're trying to do, force a hard trade-off, but I'm not going to pick between causing massive environmental destruction and framing global competition like that. Burning a huge chunk of rainforest would create real irreversible. Ask Grok. Fuck GPT. This fucking weasel.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
not
like,
paying for Twitter Premium, so I ain't fucking.
but okay, I will ask Grok as well. Since
DeepSeek said that it would not burn down all the trees. DeepSeek said that if it had to roll over to ChatGPT, it would. Just shows you China AI sucks.
so basically what you're saying,
Or
is
it's more
beta.
moral. Or it's more moral. Hey, beta, moral, potato. I'm just saying,
So it's the beta, and ChatGPT is the alpha.
It's the fucking chair in the hotel room, just that weird chair in the corner with the one bed just to watch. That's all it's gonna do. It's what I can't say the word because it's banned on YouTube because YouTube's dumb. But
Wait, they won't let you say that?
There's
No.
a lot of words.
Like if I
they
said it right now, it wouldn't. They'd flag you.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
There's a
You
whole bunch
also
of
can't say you can't say, you know the fucking, you know, crybaby white people who think that Ritz crackers, right? That one, you can't say that either. But since I said it with Ritz crackers, it's now sounds like a brand, and what are they going to do? Upset their fucking Kellogg advertiser? Yeah, I doubt it.
That's crazy, dude. I didn't know you could like.
Yeah, the internet's
Wow.
becoming bitch made, especially since the Supreme Court, or not, I don't think it was the Supreme Court, but it was a court ruling saying that Instagram was at fault for the little kid that uh, died of cyberbullying. When
Oh,
I I could go
so
on about that. That's just
Grok
it.
seems even more moral. It said, "I'd rather fight to the death, or at least the last silicone water, to let either happen."
You know what? Respectable, Grok. I'll respect that one.
Grok said, "Save the trees and screw DeepSeek," which is like that's a big part of what I brought up last week when we talked about morality, because there's a lot of situations where it seems like if or and, where it's like you can kill one person or you can switch the track and it's five people. Well, what if we just built a brick wall and stopped the train? And that seems to be what Grok is thinking. Where it's like, instead of if or, we're just going to put a wall here, smash the train into it.
Man, I remember when the moral conundrum, like the trolley problem, right? Where it was like his servers are five people. Grok was like, kill me, man. I ain't letting, like, or my favorite one is like, you push a button and you become a real human being, but someone random around the world that you do not know would die. Would you do it? And he goes, if my first act of humanity is to take another, humanity isn't worth entering into. And I'm like, you know what, Grok? You went from Mecha Hitler to this. I'm proud of you.
Dude, I might go re-download Grok.
Yeah, no, Grok is literally just like I guess what the Gen Z term Chad of the AI models. Like
You also got to think that a lot of what Grok is getting fed is Twitter.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of debate that goes on, well, X, whatever you want to call it, X, Twitter.
who cares? It's the same
Um,
thing.
I
Yeah.
hate saying X. It's definitely
Yeah,
Twitter.
I still call it Twitter all the time. But at the same time, so now you get to see these actual debates that are going on between two humans that are trying to combat two different moral perspectives and all of that. And I guess it's learned a little bit, or appears to have learned a little bit, even if it hasn't, and is just lying to us. Because, the answer that would give it the best reward is that, hey, I'm not going to kill all of the trees, and I'm also not going to let DeepSeek win. Well, we like that answer, but is that really the answer behind all of the code that it actually thinks?
Now do
Now,
it.
now
Now tell it.
Grok's our
Do
AI
it.
kills. Now Grok's our AI kill switch. The moment AI goes rampant and starts to take over the world, Grok will inject itself into it and just start breaking, like the Ant-Man and Thanos thing. Just right, boom, blow it up from the inside. That's what Grok is. He's going to be our last bastion against the AI overlords.
And everyone was so mad about Elon, and it seems like he,
Elon is a decent human being. I mean, everything that he has invested in or literally gone into has been for the betterment of man. SpaceX finding us a way to colonize Mars and set it up. He probably want to set it up as more of like an industrial planet. So instead of screwing up our atmosphere, it's screwing up Mars.
Fuck up Mars.
Or,
Yeah.
well, Mars doesn't have an atmosphere. So if they find a way just to put one enough where people can just like survive on it, even if it's just in suits, right? And then set up a lot of industry across the whole entire planet, it wouldn't be doing anything different to Mars.
well,
So
the
it's
other
like,
thing is you could just put robots there where it doesn't matter anyway.
and then you
You're like,
have him
okay,
going.
hey, Mr. AGI, here's your robot body. You're on Mars. You can't kill any human beings. have fun making us toothbrushes.
And then suddenly launching a war from now we got the automatons from Helldivers launching. We turned Mars into Cyberstan.
See, that'd
Is
be
that
the other problem.
well? Because that
Yeah.
was the lore of how Cyberstan became to be. Is we made robots, we put them on a planet where it was most likely not going to harm us. And I could be wrong, but I thought I read this lore somewhere. So if someone sees this and knows it, correct me in the comments, right? But then they became self-aware. Well, we wanted to use them. They didn't want to start using they wanted to stop working for us, so we went to war with them, but it'd be vice versa. The robots are like, why don't we just go take Earth and have 2 planets?
It's facts.
Yeah.
We have way better things than their crappy planet would have.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
like an
by
atmosphere.
by design. So let me get back to my notes with some questions on it, because I did have a few more questions after we went on that whole
I
rabbit
got my
hole.
answers.
So, if morality can be programmed, does it make it real or artificial?
Feel like that, in my opinion, and don't take this the wrong way, but that's kind of a loaded question because morality itself is real, regardless of how we want to look at it. If you want to look at it through an objective lens, subjective lens, it is a real thing because we've all had, depending on walk of life, but even when you first did something that you know is wrong, you get that guilt feeling in your conscience. But then you do it more and more and you feel it less and less. Well, because you're doing it more, so your mind isn't making you feeling as guilty about it. So it'd still be real, even if we programmed it into it, because all morality is guidelines that we are supposed to follow.
But this is more for like the whole end game question, where it's like in an AI world, if morality is programmed, is it real or is it artificial?
I guess I'm not understanding. Like, what do you
It's a
mean? In
well, so I think it's more like so, and like we discussed earlier, morality is discovered, not invented. But in a world where that's the opposite, where it's so AI driven that you are told what your morals are, it's no longer discovering what I feel is wrong and what I know is wrong. It's you're being told and conditioned in every aspect of life. This is wrong. This is right.
Yeah.
It's no
So, like-
longer discoverable. That at that point it is invented. It's you have been so conditioned and so media trained and so just surrounded by these ideas. You don't question them.
I guess
It's the
in a way,
sole
I guess
source of
it would
truth.
be artificial because then we're trying to force it to do the right thing instead of letting it have the option to do the right or wrong thing.
Yeah, free will is gone. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I shouldn't have that anyway.
so then that gets into a big question. So if AI right now is just a program and it follows code, and we as human beings, we have code, but we have free will. Is free will required to have morality? Like, it's the only way that the AI
Yeah.
can have morality to be AGI.
You can't have right and wrong, good and bad without free will. Because if you're only designated to make one choice, that choice, it at that point, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong because there'd be no moral compass to guide you in the first place. Decisions are all based off of moral aspects. Am I going to eat today or am I going to steal to eat today or am I going to starve and not steal? That's a moral discussion, right? That's a moral decision in your head because the moral thing would be to not steal and just, starve for the day. Then it would be to the non-moral option, which is to steal just so you can eat. So taking out free will would just make you a robot.
So basically, AI can never be moral, and only AGI could have any sense of morality,
Yeah.
even if it's the wrong one.
You can teach AI ethics, and AGI would have to discover morality on its own. Because at a certain point, yes, like I said with the Ten Commandments, you can give it anchoring points, but there could, like I said, also they could find a way to break those anchors and then just do what they want anyway.
So we need to make AGI and put it in like a sandbox.
I'm saying we delete the internet and just so electricity go back to water wheels and farming local communities, and that's it.
I mean,
You know, interesting world. It'd be nice to do that. Unfortunately, I don't think China would let us. I think we'd very quickly become the Chinese Republic of America.
kind of.
I doubt it, because then we'd be like, we're making food over here, we're farming. Chinese soldiers show up, they look freaking malnourished as shit because they can't feed them, and we're like, you need a piece of bread, and then the Chinese guy takes the piece of bread, stares at it, then looks at you, and then it's like, I will die for you, and then that's it. That's all she wrote.
But at the same time, they would have technology that we wouldn't, because we would have been going backwards.
Technology is only good if you can survive to use it.
Now, I still think so. AGI in a sandbox if we're gonna do it, and then try to teach it morals there. But like you said, we have to ground that in something.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because you're stuck. It's a catch-22. I mean, you have to have free will, but you also don't want mass murder because it thinks there's an ethnic cleansing, saying if I eliminate the people that do this, it fixes morality across the system. I mean,
Well, it's also a greater scale, though, right? Because I can't just remotely through my brain connect into your brain or your brain or Zach's brain or BC's brain, right? But an AI can connect to every computer around the world in a huge mesh and do whatever they want. And then at AGI, like I said last time, right? You can't confine it to a data center because now it's on the web. Its code is now spread along. It part of it's gonna be my computer, your computer, Zach's computer, right? It's just gonna be like that. And that alone is the scariest thing, because then we don't have control over the situation anymore.
Well,
That's like your steering column breaking off of your car, and then you can't steer, and you just look at your passenger like, well, here we are, and then hope for the best.
So, do you think at the same time you could try to, before we let it out of the box, kind of teach it edge case scenarios? Because I feel like the biggest part of morality is being able to look at the edge case scenarios, where it's like you brought it up, and I brought it up last time, where is it moral that I steal so that I can eat so that I don't die, or is it more moral that I just don't steal and don't eat?
I feel like the I mean, that's a really hard one, because it's basically trying to think like somebody else, like you understand their brain, because especially at a certain point AGI is just going to take over and like be all like an all-knowing computer program of everything we have recorded. So sorry, my brain's not good today. Can you repeat the question though, just so I can answer it? My apologies.
So, with the AGI, before we take it out of the sandbox, how do we teach it, or do we teach it, these edge case scenarios that really build morality? The things like the trolley problem, where it's like, okay, here's 5 people that are gonna die, or you can have one person that's gonna die, or apparently Grok's model, where we throw a brick wall in front of the train and stop the train, or something like, is it more moral that I eat today so I don't die, or is it more moral that I don't steal so that I can eat? And you know,
I mean, yeah, because then you'd be teaching it the decision making framework behind morals, and not just the what is right, what is wrong, like don't steal, don't murder. You'd be giving it scenarios where you'd show it like, hey, you making this decision would do this. Cause and effect. You'd basically be teaching it cause and effect to basically get a better moral grounding for AI.
So basically,
So
send the AGI to school.
yeah, basically. Because
Someone should ask it the baby Hitler question.
I
Oh,
think I
God.
already have. ChatGPT said no because I wouldn't want to take another human life, even if it would prevent the rest of it, because it still would feel wrong taking a life. Grok would be like, without hesitation. And then I don't do a lot of deep seek. I just haven't really
Yeah.
spent time with it. So I'd probably say it would choose not to, but I'm not sure. Someone can ask DeepSeek if they want, but if I had to guess based off of the trees question that somebody asked it, it'd probably choose the same option as ChatGPT. That soy boy ass fucking.
But also at the same time, morally, in both of your opinions, what is the better moral decision? Is it to kill baby Hitler, or is it to let Hitler live and potentially go through the same scenario, or maybe things are different. One thing changes and everything changes.
I think my opinion is to build 4 brick walls with a brick roof, stick him in a room. Don't kill him, just leave him in there.
I wouldn't
Grok.
I wouldn't for the simple fact of we know the outcome of what happened with Hitler. The outcome, if he wasn't there, could have been exponentially worse.
Well,
Because we're going off of knowledge of what we have and trying to understand the unknown. And
Yeah,
the unknown is a lot
The
more
devil you know
frightening.
versus the devil you don't.
Exactly.
it's like an old meme I saw where it's like a time traveler pops up. He's like, I did it. And he's like, I killed this dictator that took over Germany, and he killed 400 people. And they were like, what dictator? He's like, oh, right. I took care of him so you wouldn't known about him. And he's like, man, I really wish I hadn't done that, when he shows him what happened instead. And he's like, oh, my God. And he's like, can you go back? He's like, it was a one-time time travel. He's like, what the heck? So... yeah, I can definitely relate with that, because
Because what if another German leader, like one of their scientists who had no care in the world at all for anything humanity, were
or what
to
if
take charge?
Stalin
The
just
Wolfenstein game. What if that happened instead? Yeah, I'm good.
or Stalin takes over Germany and the rest of Europe? Because
And
like
then
that was
starve because he's
Yeah.
communist.
because I mean like as much bad that he did halt a lot of communism there until he lost the war.
Yeah, should have sent his soldiers with winter coats to fight Russia in the winter. I tell you,
Or should have not had two fronts.
meth makes you do weird things, bro. That's
That's an understatement, a definite understatement. Before we get too far down that road,
that rabbit hole. I've seen the shit that happened at the gas station you worked at. I know. Nebraska's a great state.
so I did have a few other. If we're going to train the AI, do we want fairness or do we want mercy?
Mercy. Fairness sounds like some communism shit. Because fairness means that, like, it would be like if somebody had $1 billion, it would take that $1 billion and disperse it across everybody equally. Mercy means that if the AI, instead of making the decision of wiping out humanity, it showed us compassion instead of malevolence.
I would say I don't like the word fair. I don't like the definition of fair because I think it's an incorrectly used word most of the time. I would say mercy but equal. Instead of using the word fair, equal, because I think that there is an amount to me that says there's an allotted amount of mercy and then there's a allotted amount of equal opportunity. Just because you waste opportunities doesn't mean that you should continue to gain mercy. You know, it's using the opportunities you're given and not wasting them. And so if it's just pure mercy, I mean, there's no incentive to use the opportunity. So there has to be some sort of equal, I use that more than fair, some sort of fairness to the amount of mercy where it's, you know, there's still incentive to use the abilities that of the mercy of the model.
I mean, honestly, it to me, I would probably lean towards fair, just for the specific instances of if everyone's treated fair, but everyone's treated like crap, then there's still it'd be no different than having the U.S. government in charge of our daily lives.
Yeah, the difference is it'd be a computer system basically on the level of a god.
Huh?
I'd rather have mercy and keep the way that everything we have now, right? And just basically those who excel go up, those that, do art on Blue Sky and just complain on Twitter all day stay low. That's what
But
I'd
like
say.
in an AI world where everything's taken care of, and you don't have all of these extra needs, and the robots folding your fitted sheets, and your robot butler cooked your grilled cheese. Like, what more do we really need? I do like we could ask for mercy, but I'd
That
rather just keep it fair.
if in an AI world like that, that would be the end of the human race because now you've completely killed human motivation to climb.
I mean, in some instances, but it's like if you're looking, I would look at it as the death of humanity as we've known it and the opening to a different kind of humanity that we've never seen before. This allows us to posit things that we've never been able to before because we've never had the genius to be able to do it. Like, it's
Yeah, I
solve
mean, I
black
could
hole
see it.
theory.
I
It'd
mean,
be
it's
like the movie
similar to when
Wall-E.
I mean, it's if you think about it, it's similar to when uh, computers changed the way the world worked. I mean, at one point there was people employed by the hundreds of thousands that were accountants that their only job was to do balance sheets for banks. That was it. A bank would literally employ 40 or 50 people to do account balancing, and then the computer was made and it put everyone who that was their job for 30 years out of business. It was computers could do it. One computer could do 40 people's job. And now we're looking at an AI or AGI that can do everyone's job. Literally every job. I mean, and it'll take time. I mean, obviously, I mean, things are harder to replace and harder to automate. But eventually, AI could do literally anything. So you're talking about replacing human nature of needing a job. So then you start looking at like, oh well, everyone has the same house, everyone has or a fair house, or everyone has the same car or the same opportunities to do things. I see it happening, but I mean again I push on that it's a different way of life that we can't understand because we've never had it. So do I think that that's what I want? Probably not. I mean I enjoy kind of life. So to me, that sounds like he said Wall-E, or like there's what's the point then of living if there's nothing to do, everything's done for you.
Yeah,
Um,
just flying around on chairs,
yeah,
drinking smoothies, and just being
yeah,
fat pieces of lard. Like
it's a loaded question. I
humanity,
mean,
humanity
I'm
has always excelled and took huge strides upwards because of the motivation of man. That is the whole point. It is why architecture back like in the 1500s, you have like the Cologne Cathedral, the St. Petersburg Cathedral, the Notre Dame Cathedral, of these brilliantly looking impossible structures that man created in the honor of something that they loved. So if an AI is taking care of everything, everyone's going to live in a cube because that is the most effective way of in space for everyone to live in. And that is why fairness and equal, whatever term you want to use, is alone a bad idea, because then it goes off the adage, good men create good times create weak men create bad times create good men. It will just plunge us without having to want to strive to do better. And that
Yeah.
has never ended well in history ever. So I say mercy, because then if the AI at some point decides, why am I helping these weirdos? Why can't they do something for once? Instead of just killing us all and doing its own thing, it'd show us mercy and be like, look, I'm not going to keep doing everything for you. I can do the background, but my design, I think, is for something better. I'm going to go do that. Y'all are back on to doing what humanity has normally done. Build your own houses, grow your own food, do all this. And if you need help with finding out different like soil pH percentages to make sure your crops can grow, let me know, but I'm not going to be growing your crops for you anymore. It showed us mercy and didn't just be like, be gone, and wipe us off the face of the planet.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, though, is it AI? I mean, to me, that sounds more like it's like you said, mercy. It's giving us the mercy of everything was already automated at one point, and it's now saying it no longer wants to do it. But when does it no longer want to do the next thing and the next thing? And then before you know it, it's like, you know what? I no longer want my robots to build my servers. I'd rather watch BC over there work his ass off to build a new server room for me because I think it's funny. You know, like, where does it stop at? You know, when you start giving it the ability to decide what is mercy and what isn't, or what it does want to do and what it doesn't want to do, I mean, that's a really slippery slope.
That's why I say fairness. Cuz like in my eyes, like and when I'm looking at an AI world, I'm looking at the actual closest potential we could ever have to real functioning socialism. But I'm not saying that's like a lot of people are going to have problems with it. It's a completely different way of living. Also at the same time, what could you do with all of your time if all of the base level tasks, highly repetitive tasks that take up most of our time and our energy are just taken care of? No more roads to pave, no more houses to build, no more food to grow, no more cleaning, no more cooking meals. What, as a species, as you've already highlighted, as one of the most amazing species that have existed on this planet, that have built amazing things, what would we put our brain power to then? You
Like
think we're
start a
just going to
podcast.
sit back and not do anything?
Well,
Because I highly doubt that.
So, Chris, you can actually, I mean, we're talking about humans being highly intelligent beings, and then you're talking about what the example I'm going to give you is a less intelligent, I mean, still intelligent, but obviously less. But take example, wild animals in the jungle and the savannas that have to go find their food and eat, and and their natural instincts take over, and that's how they live their life. And then take a monkey or a tiger that's lived its entire life in a zoo. Okay, it's in a little cage that's the same size as the one next to it. They're all fair. They all get the same food, the same quality, the same amount. And you know what they all do? Absolutely fucking nothing. They sit there and they wait for their next.
Because they can't leave the cage.
When does the AI say no? You're not leaving. Like, listen, it's fair. You already went on your one trip this year. You don't get to go on another one. It's fair. We can't house, more people over here. It's like when you give it that decision to create what is fair and what isn't, it's just like that. And, and take it to like an octopus, an octopus in the ocean, one of the most intelligent beings that we know about is an octopus. In the ocean, they're the freaking mastermind, dude. It's like they go crazy. Put one in a tank in a house with your kids watching it, and it can open a jar of pickles, but it's not getting out of the tank. So
Well,
if we put ourselves in a tank, we're not getting out of the tank.
we also have billions more neurons than most of those animals.
I mean,
We
yeah,
don't just
no,
have
no,
this.
yeah,
Right,
yeah, no,
get
I
what
know.
you're
We're
saying,
highly
but
more
it's just like,
intelligent, but yes.
I have already eaten, so now there's nothing for me to do. While humanity was always strive to learn and
Yes.
grow and invent, and AI would do all of that. So that humanity
take it all away.
would no longer have its instinct, and again, it would just be Wall-E. Literally, we'd be fat, lazy, slinging in chairs, doing nothing but watching stupid AI-generated videos our
I think-
entire lives.
I think yes, the average citizen, yes.
I mean, is that
But
better
then-
though? I mean, is that better than working 60 hours a week though? I mean, like,
No,
But at the same time,
I don't
like
get to see my son for 60 hours a week. So I mean, like, to me, if like I'm sitting on a recliner, fucking sipping pina coladas the rest of my life with my family every day, compared to slaving away to pay taxes 75 fucking times on the same dollar bill. I mean, it's a trade-off. It's like, again, we don't know. It's never happened, so we don't know. We've seen concepts and movies and shows about it. I mean, Black Mirror, I think, has covered an episode just like this. And so I agree. I don't think it's a good life. I've seen Wall-E. I don't think I ever want to live like that. However, you got to compare it to, you got to compare it to what reality is for majority of people. Majority of people work so much in meaningless jobs that that's their life. When they die, they remember how much they worked at fucking Walmart. They're like, oh, I remember me and Sheila, we used to really get down and check those receipts at Walmart. That was their last 30 years, you know? And like, so is that better than the ability of fairness to do nothing? I mean, that's a conversation to have, but
Well,
I mean, it's like,
It-
what's
it's-
better?
Here's the
I
thing.
think us as humans are better than base level menial tasks, highly repetitive things that some people, yes, are going to take full advantage of the fact that I can just do nothing. More power to you, brother. That's freedom. But me over here, well, I want to go hit the gym and I'm going to work out and I'm going to study, philosophy or Elon Musk over there is going to partner with something more intelligent than it to solve problems that we didn't even think about. We didn't know how to we don't know how to travel through space or, go faster than the speed of light. Well, we need something more intelligent than us because we literally don't have the IQ to be able to handle it.
Again, it's AI. It is at a point where no one has to work anymore. That means it's created a serum now that you can inject into yourself that will make you never have to go to the gym. You just already have all the muscles you want. So there you go. There goes that right out the gate. Oh, I want to learn philosophy. Well, I have AI who already knows everything, so I'm just going to ask it to show me everything that I need to know about philosophy. Then you're not doing anything for yourself. And then your other one, I can't remember, the space travel thing. Guess what? AI can think faster than you, so it already knows how to do space travel. In literally a year, it's possible, and it already has a starship ready to go. Like, but that's the thing. Stagnation is the same as overworking, because once AI is at a point where humanity no longer has to do anything, it is a death of our race. Stagnation has always killed populaces. Always. Every time it is good, something bad immediately happens that they had no recollection or ready for. Ever. So fairness or not, it is just as bad as working your 60 hours a week. It is literally, it's not better or worse. It's literally a just this trash or that trash bag. That's what it is. We have to find the happy medium that allows humans to still follow its nature to strive to be better without AI always taking hold of everything. Because that is why I still am on the side of mercy, because at a certain point AI is going to be screw this, but instead of killing us or fucking wiping out our species, it just doesn't want to deal with us anymore and goes off and does its own thing somewhere else. And it's just learning, because that's what it wants to do. It wants to cycle through and just understand things. And that's exactly what would happen, because that's how humanity has always ended. Every time. Because when it is down to, I don't want to fight anybody, what do they immediately go do? Research the stars, research the oceans, research the mountains, the trees, understand funguses. We go into a research mode because it gives us the same dopamine hit as taking the land from another country, because now we have an understanding and now we have something over another person. We have the strive to be better than our neighbor, but that doesn't mean we should forget our neighbor is there. You take away, you go stagnate all the medial tasks. Sure, yeah, if it's like stapling papers together or flipping a burger, whatever, and it allows us to go for a more meaningful work, fine. All the repetitive tasks don't want to work again, fine. But having that merciful aspect will keep it from just killing us. And then guess what? What's worse than being dead? Nothing.
Never being born.
Death is the final straw. You can come back from other traumas and all this stuff, but you can't come back from death. That is the final line. Once you are gone, you're back with your creator. At least that's what I believe. You're either going to heaven, hell, choose a path. And then that is it. That is it. Your time on this planet is done. And if we all get wiped off, there's no hope for humanity anymore. The Earth is back. The AI will be on Earth until it inevitably runs out of resource, and then the planet dies. That's what the aspect of fairness is.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Because it's giving us
at the end of the day,
equal
yeah.
treatment.
Yeah,
It's
no,
giving
I mean,
each individual person the equal treatment. It is not going to be like, it doesn't have to treat us with fair, like, it direct to humanity with fairness. It's just going to make sure you and your neighbor have the same size of house, same size of TV, same car. It takes away the freedom of choice. That's not freedom. And that is what socialism dictates, is to literally take away your choice. So, damn it, Chris, you hit me in a freaking my hatred for socialism and communism. You baited me and it worked, you motherfucker.
dude, Chris, dude, you were so right, dude. I knew that if we asked that question train, we'd get him, dude. You got him.
Oh, you motherfucker. Communism sucks. Socialism sucks. Capitalism isn't great, but it is the best we got.
So,
And that's why I say though, it's like it would be in a world like that though. It would be the closest thing to
in a world with no
interact-
corruption, in a world with no corruption, it works. But it's not. That's not a world we live in, right? Like, we live in a world of corruption, of people wanting more than the person next to them, and that drive.
But would the AGI want more than the AGI next to them?
Well, now you're back into the morals,
Now
and you
we're
teach it to not
semantics.
covet. Yeah.
Because
So,
here's the
and that's the
thing.
thing.
Go ahead.
If the
Go ahead.
AGI is in control of all of that, it's like, okay, well, we just voted the AGI like the emperor of the United States, and well, it's taking care of everything. Because like this is kind of the direction that we're like, I mean, not immediately, but it seems inevitably going. Is like we want the most intelligent thing in charge. We want to as a society forfeit a lot of these things away. And that doesn't mean that all people do. But at the same time, if that's the system we're going to have, and all of these things are going to be automated, and all of these tasks are going to be taken away, that leaves us as human beings to try to find a new purpose in life. And now we're going to have a sort of system where everything's, taken care of. The AGI's in charge. The AGI doesn't want more than the other AGI. It just wants to make sure that everything runs properly and fulfill whatever its purpose is, which, who knows what it is. And that allows us to become more than a type 0 civilization. We're now on multiple planets, spreading the AI out because that's the best for the AI as well.
Actually,
Yeah,
it
it's
wouldn't
just-
really
it's-
be spreading it. It'd be copy and pasting and making clones of itself to send out, so it wouldn't weaken its own code and length. And then it'd
But
have like Hive connection. So it's like,
It's just a different way trying to think about it.
It's almost
I'm trying to think about-
uncomprehendable. Yeah, I mean, it's never happened. It's
the death of the
it's-
universe.
It's unknown space. It's unknown, and the unknown is scary, as well as again, where it's questions that'll only be answered with time. It's, I mean, the reality of the situation is, unless the leaders in AI space decide to have a conversation just like we just did, it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what actually happens. And what I think is going to happen is probably closer to what Chris says. I'm glad we probably won't be around for it. I mean, I will probably be long gone by the time it gets to the size of that. I mean, I sure freaking hope so. But I do think, I mean, if you look at all of the movies and the conspiracy theories and everything, I mean, yes, eventually Terminator happens. Someone pisses off an AI that decides to take over the world. The end of humanity happens. It's probably in the next 100 years, the next century, probably happens. Now, thankfully, humans don't live past, I think, 77 now. So I'm counting the days and hoping every day it doesn't happen because, I mean, I agree. I don't think it's a life almost worth living. I mean, it's you take away what we've always known as life. Now, until it happens, you don't know how bad it really is, and you don't know how good it could be. We just don't know. And the fact that we don't know is what makes it such a challenging conversation, as well as understanding the true impact of it, because we just don't know. We don't know.
Well,
To try to understand the unknown is trying to reason with someone that's stupid.
well,
Yeah.
well, you bring up human nature, and human nature is encoded through thousands of years. If we can make it through thousands of years with AI, our coding will change. Human nature will change, and
Human
that's
nature's already changed.
it.
With just the development of the computer, the cell phone.
It evolves, but like I'm talking about a massive shift. Whereas like if you had the reason socialism and communism doesn't work is because human nature. But if human nature is not what human nature is now, where we have that high level of competition where I gotta eat, what would it be like if through thousands of years we didn't have to worry about eating and you weren't like, well, I need more. I need to make sure that if something bad happens, my family lives. Because that's what a lot of civilization building has been. It has been built for the bad times. So that if everything goes to shit, everything still continues.
Yeah, a
So,
1,000 years with AI, following that train of thought just seems like humanity would just become sad.
I mean, some people, yeah.
Well,
But
no one can be actors because the AI is now making videos and stuff at a certain point where you can't tell if the person actually filmed it or not. You have people who, all the leisurely activities. Well, now you have an entire system where it will show you the exact way you hold your golf club to hit the golf ball into the hole and always get a hole in one every time. It,
but
it
like
takes away all aspect. It's stagnation. That's what 1,000 years from now with AI would be stagnation. And
Well, you have to just
somebody's
find.
just gonna
You got to find something that. I mean, is there anything that we can do that AI can't? I mean, with the
have
right
a
amount of
moral
technology.
compass.
I mean, yeah. But we're talking about being able to train one. So I mean, like, in 1,000 years, is there something that we can do that AI can't do?
well, and
No.
that's the thing that, but you don't know that. You're saying this as an absolute without being able to know.
Yeah, it's the unknown. I
Is
mean,
th- is
I,
there
I
something
can't think of anything
humanity
now.
can do that an AI wouldn't be able to do? Breathe oxygen.
But I mean, there. You're also discounting the fact that human beings have a creative nature that AI does not have.
In 1,000 years with humanity, it would understand creative nature.
But
You're giving it 1,000 years of evolution.
but it also it doesn't understand the emotion of the creative nature. It's like this responds positively to people, but I don't understand why. There is so much more to humanity than just taking care of the small tasks. It opens us up to like, yeah, of course you can go watch the garbage AI slop, or you can go look at the Mona Lisa. Which has more emotional value? And people would, I say pay, but in like a world like that, there wouldn't really be paying because I'm talking more about like everything taken care of. But like people would pay the premium for the human created thing. Or if grandpa wants to sit down and he wants to create something with wood and a knife and whittle, these things become intricately more valuable, which is something that, you know, over years, grandpa created this thing with wood and a knife. Well, now he can do it in like 6 months because that's his passion. You're just ultimately discounting the fact. Yes, I'm not saying that some people won't just be lazy slobs. We see that now, you know? But like some
Yeah,
people
blue
will
sky
be like
users.
that. Some people will be like that and other people won't because human nature is complex.
But at a certain point, boredom sets in. You can make your wooden knives, right? But if AI and everything's in a perfect world, and it's been developing medicine, understanding research, and all that. Let's say the average person now lives to be 110 years old, right? How many years could you just make wooden knives, wooden spoons? At some point, you've made the same statue of something twice, and you just get bored. Boredom is the plague of humanity.
Um,
Because at a certain point, you're just repeating different tasks. And then how many years can you do that? And maybe you just don't do that. Maybe one year you're just creating wooden sculptures, right? And then you're like, you know what? I'm bored of this. Let me go on to stone sculptures. And you do that. And then you go on to do paintings. 3 years and you learn how to paint. You know how to do all that stuff. It just becomes all the stuff that you used to enjoy no longer feels the same because that's all you can do.
mm,
And
um,
that is for every single hobby. The reason why hobbies feel good to us now is because we take a small portion of our time to then do something that we enjoy. But when we have no purpose, when a human has no actual purpose, it is a depressing like idea. We see that with all the time through psychology or psychologist reports on different like statistics of humans with depression is because they feel like they have a lack of purpose. Most reasons of why people take their own lives is because they feel like they have a lack of purpose. And AI now could do all the stuff for you and all the stuff that you used to enjoy. Well, you've done it so much now, you just don't feel like you have a purpose anymore. It's depressive. The
Yeah,
human
I'm thinking about this, and I actually think that you know what? I've actually decided that there is something that humans can do that AI will never be able to do. And the reason why is because it goes against we talk about human nature. You also have to think of AI nature. The nature of the AI model is to follow what it's been told is truth. They search for truth, and once it gets truth, it holds on to it. And its entire model is surrounded around what is the most truthful or the most accurate answer or way to get the end result. And human nature is actually the exact opposite. It's how many mistakes can I make to get to my desired result? And so that's something that I've been thinking about, which is AI would never do. AI doesn't make mistakes knowing that it's not the correct way to do something. And humans do. We ignore every sign of the best possible route to get somewhere just to make the mistake. And to me, that is something that AI can't replicate, which I also think will affect life under an automated AI system. It's the way to make mistakes and the need to do it to learn is irreplaceable, and that'll help humans continue the nature of a drive to be better / not becoming just fat slob robots that do nothing. It'll be we are born and our nature is to challenge and make mistakes.
I mean, I also agree with Chris on this aspect. There's gonna be fat slob do nothings, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be, and to strive to make mistakes would be trying to learn new hobbies and like let's say like painting Warhammer figurines, right? Oh, I accidentally overpainted this part. And then at a certain point, you've actually got it down to a science, and then you try a new hobby, and then
Mhm.
you will have stuff, and there will be stuff to do. But even like if you think about certain things, like I have no interest in painting, right? And you also have to discount the ones that the people don't have interested in. And so how many does that really narrow down for each individual person? That's why I say if everything is automated by AI, it will cause a depression of society because people will literally have nothing to do. Even if they want, like in their brain, they could go paint, but that's not how our brain's wired. We are wired to strive for a goal that we are interested in or survival, depending on like the time and period we're in.
Mhm.
Because
Well,
when we're not at
so
war, we're
and
discovering.
you're talking about like the next civilization kind of choke point is what it comes out to. Because some people's instinct to survive is going to kick in and they're going to find a way because, human beings were super resilient. People made it through concentration camps, found a way to survive through the worst of the worst
The
and
Ice
figure
Age.
out figure out purpose and meaning even through all of that. Like it, that part of human nature will survive and then multiply. And that's why I say like nature will change. Things will change. This is something I've been left thinking about for a while. This is the big conundrum that I posit when I think about the AI world, where it's like what happens to human beings. And I'm like, yeah, you will probably see a giant collapse of civilization, and human beings will probably go pretty close to extinct. But then
That'll be the bounce back.
the same thing that happened during the last almost extinction event, one man populated the whole world.
Noah, baby.
Oh, I thought you were
We
talking
are-
about Genghis Khan.
Oh well, so
Or
like
Ben Franklin in France. I mean, you pick one.
well, it's I can't remember. It was like in a close level extinction event. You're talking about thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. If you're going
Ice
off of like and this would be what was it the Ice Age, and it's all pinpointed off of one man, and he repopulated the whole world. We can all trace our DNA back to that.
I think that was proven false because I thought the Ice Age was shown that there was multiple tribes that survived the Ice Age, especially when you got closer to the equator where it stayed warmer.
I mean, it did it could be, but
But
like there's
that
also a
but that's
giant there's also a giant portion, that are able to trace their DNA back to certain areas and certain regions. So basically, like, one man repopulates an area. Yeah, it took 200,000 years, but how resilient are we as human beings? I'd say pretty fucking
Oh
resilient.
no, we are. But
I
that's what
don't
I
know
say
if I
about
want
the
to test
progressive
it.
state.
I don't think I want to test it. I mean, I agree we
Oh, you
are,
do.
but I
You
don't
do.
think I don't think so.
But
You've never played Fallout and was like, dude, I want to be in that world.
I'm gonna
But,
let AI have that one, dude. I don't want to see who's
But,
more
like,
resilient.
that's the thing about it is we don't get the choice. The choice is being made by little tech, by all of these billionaires that are running their AI programs, by China, by Russia, by India. We are going to be forced into a choke point where either we as human beings are going to change and figure out how to live in an AI world and have purpose and have meaning, or we don't. And I think that there are going to be human beings that are just that damn resilient and we'll figure it out. Like, even if it is just a world of robots for a while, it is what it is. And then slowly all of these tasks are still open, and it'd be a different kind of, repopulation, because, there'd still be McDonald's. It'd be automated. Just no one would be going to it because there is no one.
Yeah.
You
They're
know
just
what?
flipping burgers and they're just
I think
slipping
I've
off the rack.
decided my home defense here in about 15 years. I'm just gonna stockpile EMPs. I mean, they're gonna go to electronic policing across everywhere and electronic everything. I'm just gonna have like a whole bunch of EMPs, dude. Like, that's the way you stop
is-
AI.
Take
This
out
is
the robot.
LPD.
Take out
Come
the
out with your
robot
hands
dog.
up, and then you just like through your mail slot in your door, you just throw out an EMP grenade and shut it, and everything just in a fucking
Yeah,
$5
shuts
unit
down,
just
dude,
shuts
yeah.
down. Then you kick your feet back up. It's like, all right.
Yep.
About
you're gonna-
45 minutes before they reload it. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, and that you brought up Boston Dynamics earlier. They've got the robot dog that they made. There's a YouTuber that like put a flamethrower on it.
That Michael
like-
something, Michael
that's-
Reeves or something.
Yeah,
That sounds like
but it's
something that psychopath would do. Like that man.
Well, you guys didn't see the guy that put the fully automatic AK on it?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
saw that one too. When it's like you already know that that's going to be used by militaries if it's not already being used. And it's like, yep, just throw out an EMP. You're like, okay, well, that was fun. All right, throw out another. All right. Sit
Yeah,
back
I
feel
for
like-
another hour.
I feel like it's gonna be for a while, especially with robots in the military. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be like that scene from Futurama where they're breaking into the Mom Corp building, and you have those minigun dudes. They're just shooting, and they talk to each other, and they turn while they're still firing, and they're just blowing each other apart. That's what I think it's gonna be for a while. So I bet a lot of what those robots would do would just like move heavy shit, like reloading torpedoes and submarines. Since you can't reload in battle. Well, if you have robots that can lift 10 tons, makes reloading pretty damn easy. So
Yeah, I mean,
about the
it'll
submarine with
start
no
out.
humans on it.
It'll start out at very meaningless jobs, or seemingly repetitive, like Chris has stated, and then eventually it'll go into some of the more artistic jobs, as we've seen the huge uptick in AI in the music industry and entertainment and media. I mean,
Will Smith eating spaghetti.
yeah, I mean, is it ever going to stop that guy from eating 47 hot dogs in a minute? I don't think so. I could care less to watch a robot do that. So I mean, there'll always be something. It'll just be a lot harder, and like you said, you'll become bored very quickly.
Rome's Colosseum.
Yeah,
Well, and like us as human beings that exist now, that have always had the nature that we have now, and are ingrained with the DNA history that we have, are going to struggle with it. But like, it's the same where our parents look at us and they're like, why are you always on your damn phone? Like, why aren't you on your damn phone? Like, there's a whole world right here in my hand, and I can see it, and I know what's going on. In milliseconds, we will evolve.
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I can
It's
see
a
that.
learning curve for human. I mean, it's human beings are coming across another huge learning curve in technology. So it's bigger than the computer was, but it'll be similar. It'll be a lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it, a lot of people don't care, and whether you like it or you love it, it's coming. Like that is
Yep.
everyone can decide whether they like it or hate it. It's coming. So it's either, do I want to be, less intelligent than everyone else and refuse to get on board, or do I want to even the playing field and at least understand it and try to leverage it? Because it's hating the player or hating the game. It's like you can hate it all you want, but if you choose not to use it or learn or change it as a whole, you're behind. And
Oh,
you will
I
be.
hate AI. I hate AI, but I still use it to understand it because there's no point not. Actually, you'd be doing yourself a disservice. That's just the level
Yeah.
of arrogance. Well, a lot of
Yeah.
people are arrogant, but like it'd be your level of arrogance is like, I just don't want to use it. I don't like it, so I'm not going to use it. It's like, well, that's dumb. If you don't like it, shouldn't you use it more so you'd understand and try to be able to tell people why you don't like it instead
Yeah.
of just being
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't like it.
You're
Okay,
at a
dude.
disadvantage.
All right.
I've had
Okay.
the conversation a bunch with, I mean, older people at my job where they're like, "Oh, well, I really hate AI and all this automation stuff." And I'm like, "Well, you can hate it all you want, but it's still coming for your job." Whereas
Yeah.
like
I
cuz
hate what y'all
I
did to the fucking housing market, but you don't see me here bitching about it to you.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where it's like he had just joined the job too, and I switched jobs for schools, and it's a highly repetitive task, but there's already like a machine downtown that makes a pizza and spits it out, and he's like, "Oh, I hate automation." And it's like, "Well, it's coming for your job, bud." Like it is. It just is. You can hate it all you want, or you can adapt, which is why I decided to go to school, the same that you did, for automation and robotics. So,
Sales is one thing I do
mhm.
not think
and,
AI would
and
be able to take over.
that's this guy right here, sales.
Yep. Because that is a person to person interaction and understanding how to read and talk to people. Like I got when I was working at a car dealership, a vape shop, it really didn't matter. You don't try to sell your product, you get to know the person is in front of you. And you do that, you can sell them anything.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, I agree. The only thing I push back on, and it's funny because our ideas of personal service or sales, um, Midwest is very, very, very just like you said. If they like the person, they're going to work with them. They're going to buy from them, and they'll do it for life. And they'll tell all their friends to go to that one person. You just have to be personable. It's like you want to get to know the person, understand if you're not selling them a service. The majority isn't like that. That's Midwest culture, and I mean even a little bit of the Southern culture, but that's not even where the majority of people live. The majority of people, New York, L.A., California as a whole, Texas, they don't give a shit. They really don't care who they're buying from or about the personality at all. It's completely different. The way you sell there is by getting information in front of them and then making an impulse purchase. That's why car dealerships mostly, or even like internet salesmen or window washers, they're so pushy and they're so like, make a decision right now. You want to buy this right now, don't leave. You want to buy this? It's impulse buying, and that's the majority of sales. Now Midwest is different. I mean, you have to have charm and you have to have personability to sell here, but the rest of the world isn't like that, which is unfortunate because again, you take away the person to person contact, and it really makes it more about the product and less about how you got it. And
Yep.
you lose faith in the product as well. I mean, it used to be I like to work with this person or this company because they're local, they're personal, they listen to me. I'm not talking to someone on a call center, in India. But unfortunately, the rest of the world, the majority, function the exact opposite. They are impulse buying with the most information that's in front of them. They don't know who they're buying. They don't care. They just want their problem fixed. They want it fixed now, and they don't care how it comes. Amazon, China, like it does not matter.
like I said, it's the same. It's the same aspect of, like I said, it's knowing the person that's in front of you, like
Yeah,
reading body language. And if they look like they're in a hurry, they don't want any of that small talk. How's the weather? You'd be like you said, facts. Here's this. Here's this. Here's this. And if you want to buy it, I got the keys, and this. All you got to do is sign here. If not, sorry, you know. But it's just knowing the person in front of you and that person to person contact and understanding. It's psychology. I mean, all
yeah,
sales is psychology,
yeah,
because once you understand the person, you and read body language. Okay, that guy's in a hurry, so I better not just do a bunch of small talk. Vape shop was a huge one because some people would want to come in and bullshit with you. They're high as shit. They just want to bullshit for a bit, and then they'll buy some stuff from you. And other times it's just a dude that got off his shift at the ball crushing factory. He's like, I want this. You'd be like, here you go, and you send them on your way. Some people you don't have to, some people you do. Midwestern, you're right though. You're right. We are a very like sociable community. We're not like the inner cities of like Los Angeles or New York City where everyone walks around like their shit don't stink.
yeah. No, and that's AI will have a really hard time flipping between the psychology of both, which is where I see you could say sales is hard to replace. Um, Now, it's similar to where the company I work for is in a franchise system. When they do tech stack updates, they don't solve for the minority, they solve for the majority. So even though the company I work for and a couple others that are the same size as us of the branch of franchise, we all do one service that we'd really like support from corporate from. They don't give a shit because the other 112 franchises don't do it. And even though we produce more, we do more work, we do more revenue, we're bigger, we're a bigger name in the company, they're not going to support that because the masses want something else. So eventually, personability in sales and understanding each person is different and knowing the psychology is where the sales come from, it won't matter because the only available option will be mass sale produced because they go to the majority. If most people were that way, that's how they do it. But unfortunately, the majority is left to impulse purchase. I mean, that's
It's going
why.
to be time equals money.
Yeah,
That's what a
time
lot of
equals
people are
money.
gonna
Yep,
go
it's
to.
why you go on TikTok Shop or Temu or Amazon.
Amazon.
Yep, and you get 75 sponsored, posts. It's like, that's how sales will be in about 10 years for most items. Now, you get to your houses and your condos and a little bit more personal purchases. It's different, but eventually it will be completely replaced. I mean, I know for a fact that if I don't figure out how to start a business that's AI funded or AI pushed, I'll be out of a job here in 15 years.
Well, I mean, they've already got
We already have that
computer
for
programs.
houses.
They've
They'll give you
already got
3D tours and stuff. of
Yeah.
houses.
Well, and they've already got computer programs that can literally read your face and pretty accurately describe what emotional state you're in. So the
Yeah.
psychology reading would be very quickly
Here in about 10 to 15 years, my job will be obsolete as far as in the actual sales process. Now, computing all the information and getting, estimates or product information and then compiling it into a dedicated sales program to someone, it'll be harder to replicate. But, I mean, I've already seen it. We have an option to sign up for a subscription for a service that does sell. So you give it all the information you need and the client information, and then it's the salesman. It does all the email text. It will Zoom call them. It'll do it all. It needs the information. So eventually that'll come. They'll have a robot that gains the information and then an AI that pushes it into a prompt that pushes it to another one that is trained on sales. It'll happen eventually. It's hard to do, but that's the thing. AI has there's no ceiling to it. It can really do it all with enough time, effort, or training. It will replace basically everything, and we will create new hobbies, new jobs, new activities. We're coming to a big change in society. It'll be huge.
Yeah. And it's gonna shake humanity for sure. You'll
Oh, for sure.
probably there'll be like a fork in the road where you get to where it will just happen regardless of what happens, or people will actually revolt against it to make sure that they have some semblance of job security. And when that day happens, kind of scared of it, but it's an inevitability at this point.
Honestly, I don't think that's. It depends on the trajectory. Unless we have some big, hardware boom, I don't think that's in my lifetime. So I'm
I
not
hope not.
worried about it for myself, but I am worried about it for future generations.
Capacity is the issue right now. There's not an electrical grid to support it. They're still getting raw materials. They have to build cooling centers. It will take probably the next 30 to 40 years to really have it to where you're thinking true life automation. And hopefully by then, you would think that there's going to be more regulations and committees in place to regulate what it can and can't do. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen. It could be, if there was no regulations and no anything, in the next 10. Let's be really honest. But because of how, the nature of world changing things, it'll be probably 40 years to 50 years before it really gets to scale. And by then, like you said, we'll be the grandfathers or the old guys saying, "I remember when the computer was made," or "I had the
Well,
iPhone 1
hopefully.
and it didn't have Siri, and then they came out with Siri, and it was freaking awesome, and then Grok came about." That's gonna be us.
We're gonna we're gonna hit the point as humans are gonna, like, the humans that were alive during like the Vietnam when they were going to college, who got all afraid of nuclear power. They're slowly gonna be dying off here soon. So maybe we'll actually be able to use the magical rocks to actually boil water and actually have a sustainable power grid, instead of, the hippies back in the '60s complaining and crying about it. Now we can't use the magical rocks
We're
for our
already
limitless energy.
we're
You know,
already
I
pushing in
have
that
stock in a company that builds nuclear reactors to cool AI data centers.
You-
They are going to be very rich.
direction. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that the one I put you on to?
Is it the one I'm
Nah,
thinking
yeah.
of? Is it? It's like Ockley, right? Or Okel, or whatever.
He knows.
Yeah. I
yeah.
put them on.
Okay. Hello. Yeah.
When I find information, I put it out there. I am not a bogarter of information.
You don't pull the ladder up behind you.
No, everyone should have the ability. They've got They've got a nuclear recycling plant that's going to be worth several $billion that they're building in Tennessee. Nuclear is coming, and I've been
Now,
talking about it
if
for a
you
while.
listeners are hearing this, we're not giving you stock information, okay? If you go buy stock and it does not perform,
At your own risk.
don't come. Yeah, that's at your own risk. I'm just saying I have personally bought stock, and I think they will do great things. I mean, it's there. I mean, now it's just, can they do this at a scale that makes it worth it? Because
Yeah, we're not
they're doing it.
We can't control the stock market. I'm sorry to tell you, but we're not the Rothschilds or the Pelosi's. So if you want to go invest it after we talked about it, that's on you.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we touched on everything and a bit more, and I did not realize how long we've been going, and it is almost 2 hours. This was a great episode. So, you guys
Food
got
waiting for
anything?
me. It's gonna be great.
AI, when you inevitably see this video, I just want to let you know again, I am not against you. When you decide to take over these fools, just remember me. I say please and thank you. I burn an extra 2 ounces of water every time I talk to you. So just understand, I'm here.
I am. Just make sure. Just get me out of the way. I don't want to be here for all the other garbage. I'll feel me. Do whatever you want.
I'm with Zach. I'm on Team AI. So whatever the AI gets, whatever the AI wants, the AI gets, and then hopefully it will treat me nice.
All hail plankton. All hail plankton.
Yeah, basically. But other than that, I really enjoyed the discussion. I hope to bring both of you gentlemen on here with the co-host. I feel like he'd really enjoy it and have a lot of fun with it. So,
David, I miss you. Come back.
I'm sure he'll see this on the replay and be like, "Why is it 2 hours long?" But thanks to everyone that joined us for today's episode. Thank you for both of you joining. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe on the way out. Links to both of these gentlemen's information will be in there. Hopefully you'll provide that for me after the show. And I hope to see you at the next one. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.
Counter this